All right. So I'm just going to record this in case you want me to send it to you so you can listen back to what we talked about.
Okay.
I think it's recording. So I'm really excited that you and Don are both jumping in on this. It's really fun to work with you guys both together.
Yeah, I'm glad that she joined. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think the fact that you are now posting regularly will be huge. Because one thing that I noticed is that there are pretty much 100% actually of the people who have reached out to me about joining Plexus, not the ones that I've reached out to, have never commented on any of my posts or even they've never even liked them. But they've been watching them. And so after so long of just watching and watching, either they're convinced that I'm sticking with it, they're convinced by a specific post. Maybe there's one that just happened that really tipped them over the edge because it really spoke to them. Or they just keep seeing the comments on the post, they're seeing the interaction, and they're seeing that people are actually doing this. So definitely your posts are getting pretty good engagement, but definitely don't be discouraged if they're not immediately resulting in people wanting to join, because people are seeing them, and some people might just be waiting to see if you stick with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's been like 60 likes on it so far.
Yeah, that's crazy. And the ones like what you posted today about your personal journey, those are going to do the best. So anytime that you can do something like that, like look for the little wins, or a way to tell the same story but in a different way. So like I've posted about Plexus helping with my arthritis several times, but kind of with different stories so that it seems like a fresh post. So those are definitely always going to do really well because people want to cheer for you, but they also want to know your secret. So that's great. Keep that up. The posting is going to be huge. And that's one of the things that everybody says is like one of the main keys to success is posting regularly. The next thing that I would say to do to try and push this forward would be make a list. And I actually started this the other day for myself as well. But if you have a piece of paper, write down 4 different categories. So the first category is people who are sick. The second category is people who need financial security. The third category is people who you think if they had financial freedom that they could seriously change the world. Like they are just people who have a heart for helping other people. If they could afford it or had the freedom to do it, would just like go out and be world changers. And then the last category is influencers, which may seem like the same thing, but the difference there is the world changes are more people.
Got muted for some reason.
Oh, did you miss anything? Can you hear me now?
Hey, Caitlin.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Hello?
Can you hear me?
So you can't hear me, right?
Oh, no, I can hear you now.
Okay.
I don't know. Something's going on with my sound. It's like going up and down, and then it like muted itself.
Oh, no.
I wonder if my keyboard's stuck or something.
Where did you hear me stop talking? Had I said world changers yet?
Yes, and then number 4.
Okay, so number 4 is influencers, and that might seem like the same thing as world changers, but the difference is world changers are people who really just have a heart for people and like want to fix everybody that they meet. Influencers are people who others just want to follow. So those are probably going to be people, like for me, they're people that I'm intimidated by almost.
Okay.
Because they have like such a voice, or because I feel like they are far too successful already. They have life way too together. They're not going to want to do, like somebody that I really admire and want to follow, but am maybe intimidated by. The influencers are normally like your dream team. And I a few months ago got up the guts to message one of the girls on my list, and she's a personal trainer. She's like really huge into health and fitness already. And I just know that if she started talking about plexus, she would instantly have like 15 people get on board. And so I reached out to her, and she like very politely said no. But the good thing is that because I kind of did it in like a conversational, like, and we do have a relationship, like we're friends. But I kind of just threw it in there and just said like, you would be so good at this. I don't know if you have any interest in this at all. I know you have another business going, but like, just keep this in mind because you'd be so good. Like you would instantly do well. And she was like, oh, I'm not interested right now. And I said, okay. And then I just changed the subject, and I've kind of kept a conversation going with her, because when you have a conversation with somebody in Facebook Messenger, it tells Facebook that you guys are close friends and you want to see each other's posts. So my posts are flooding her wall. And so she told me no for now, but I'm totally convinced, and I've seen it from my friends who have been doing this for longer. Like they'll say, oh, it took this dream teamer 2 years, but she's totally on board now. So definitely don't be discouraged by a no, because when you change the subject and you keep the conversation going, they keep seeing your post. Anyways, so those are the 4 categories. Take some time when you have a minute and think of like 5 people for each category. So like sick would be people who are like posting, or just that you know of because you know them, about like not feeling well, or whether that's like headaches or being pregnant and not feeling well, or really wanting to lose weight and not being able to, an autoimmune disease, like anything. I can send you, I have this list that somebody posted of like what gut, like bad gut stuff can cause. So I'll send you that list and then look through it and like just brainstorm 5 people who you can think of that have some sort of health issue. Financial security, stay-at-home moms, or moms who are working a few jobs, or just people who are really driven to contribute to their families. Okay. Those people would be good for that list. World changers, like I said, are just people who like really have a heart for helping other people, and if they had the time and freedom, they would totally go after changing the world. And then influencers, we talked about that. So come up with 5 people, and then really after that, it's just like working up the guts to contact them. So the best way to do that, if you're comfortable with it, is through a voice message, and you can do that on Facebook. I don't like to just hit like voice message, because then it instantly sends, like you don't get to try it a few times. And I'm not a fan of that, because then I fit on the first take. So if I'm going to send a voice message, the trick around that I have found is I send the voice message to myself.
Oh, okay.
And that way I can like copy and paste it and send it to them when I'm happy with like the version that I've got. Okay. But the good thing about voice messages is that like you can't mistake the tone in a voice message. So, like if I'm reaching out to you about plexus because you're sick, like you can hear that I care about you in my voice. Whereas like just a message, you might think like, oh, she just wants to make money off of me being sick or something. So I feel like I come across better, or my tone comes across better in voice messages, depending on the circumstance. And so voice message is one way. I mean, obviously, like a phone call or in-person conversation, if it's somebody that you see on a regular basis or could kind of strategically plan to hang out with. Because I've found that my friends are not afraid to ask me in person about how my Plexus business is going, and they bring it up. So, like a lot of the time, I might think like, oh, if I hang out with this person, I could totally connect Plexus to this going on in her life. And while I'm sitting there hanging out with them, trying to figure out how to bring it up, they just ask me how Plexus is going. Mm-hmm. And people, I mean, like, they're just curious. And when you're hanging out, it feels less intimidating and less like they're playing you, I guess. So they're more comfortable bringing it up. And a lot of those people who have brought it up, I've never had like bite the bullet and actually try it yet, but they keep asking me about it.
Mm-hmm. You have a friend that keeps asking me, like, how's it going? I'm like, oh, it's great, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And as long as they feel safe, like coming to you and asking you, because they know you're not going to like jump all over them and try and sell it to them, they'll keep asking. And at some point they'll be like, okay, I'm ready because you're still serious about this. You're seeing success in this. And it's time for me to just do it. So, like, definitely don't write those people off because it happens. So those are the 3 ways I would think of, like, reaching out to people, either a voice message, in person, or a text or Facebook message always works. I have been really careful about the wording of like text or Facebook messages because I hate when people from like multi-level marketing companies reach out to me and like want to invite me to a party or like tell me that I need their product. Which is funny because I work for a multi-level marketing company, but like there's just so many messages that would turn me off. So I'm really careful about the way that I word things. So if you want to like run wording by me or ask for like, hey, I want to reach out to this person. This is some info about them. Mm-hmm. What's a good way to like word a message? I'm totally happy to help with wording because it's something that I've put a lot of thought into. And it's something that I don't know if you noticed on the Paladins page, but Carissa posted, I think yesterday, and said that she's going to start every Wednesday posting a hashtag Wednesday wording tip.
Okay,
and
cool.
She's really good at wording too. So on Wednesdays, if you miss like when she actually posts it, if you just go to the search in the Paladins page and type in hashtag Wednesday wording, her post will come up there.
Okay.
So she's done one. And I think it's like specifically dealing with the January specials. So that might be a good one to go back and look for. But I really think that for you, the next step, and I don't know if you've already been doing this, but I think the next step will be making your list of the 5 people for each category and then reaching out to them. Because at first I thought that I could totally do this business just by waiting for people to come to me. But, you know, they do. It's just not as often as I would like. So I will tell you, every single time somebody has messaged me about Plexus, I've been shocked at who it is.
Oh, really? Like me?
I mean, it's somebody like you that's my friend and I like to follow on Facebook, but like we haven't talked really.
Right.
Or it's somebody like literally this morning, I woke up to a message from one of my friends from Virginia Beach who's a nurse. And she's one of the people who's an influencer that I've been scared to reach out to because she's a nurse. Like, she knows more about gut health than I do. And she reached out and was like, hey, I'm ready to try Plexus. Like, she didn't even have any questions.
Oh.
She's like ready to try. And she's somebody that I literally had gone through my friends list and was like, okay, who am I going to reach out to? And when I got to her, I was like, no, too scared. And like went through. So like, there's so many different categories of people that like will shock you that they're the ones who reach out to you. But the reason I say that is if I had just reached out to her, I wouldn't have gotten a negative reaction,
Right.
like she was interested. So it's definitely like a lot of positive self-talk, because reaching out to people is the hardest part for me. So like before I hit send, I sit there for like 10 minutes and I'm like, this isn't going to make them stop liking you. They, they are not going to send you a mean message back. They will be polite even if they say no. And like it's true. A lot of people have told me no, but they've done it nicely at least. And I see that like they continue to comment and engage with me on like non-Plexus posts. So that's like reassuring of like, okay, didn't ruin the friendship. They still like me. They just aren't interested right now. And so I would say like really focus on reaching out to other people. And I will say that I have finally gotten to the point where I'm so excited with how Plexus is working for me and how it's working for my friends, not just people that I hear about through like the Plexus people on Facebook, that I have lost some of the fear of reaching out to people, because it's not like I'm reaching out to you because I want your money. I'm reaching out to you because like this is changing my life and it's changing other people's lives. And I'm a bad friend if I don't tell you about it.
Right.
So, and honestly, one of the simplest wordings that I have used and that I've seen other people have huge success with is just writing somebody and being like, hey, if it's somebody you haven't talked to very recently, but you think they need it, like, hey, we haven't talked in a really long time, but you keep popping into my mind. And I just wanted to see if you've heard about Plexus. Like just asking the question, have you heard of Plexus? Mm-hmm. Because they kind of have to answer. So, like, it's not, do you want Plexus?
Right.
And so they're not just going to be like, no. It's, have you heard about it? So they'll be like, oh yeah, I've seen you posting. And then like that's still you can go into that and talk about your own story. Or they'll say like, no, I really don't know anything about it. And that still is, an opening for you to tell something about Plexus. The key is, and this is really hard for me and I still fail at it most of the time, but the key is to try and ask a lot of questions so that you get them very engaged. For me, it's really hard not to just go into this really long blurb, especially like on Facebook Messenger, this really long blurb about what ProBio 5 is and what BioCleanse is and what Slim is. But if you ask them a lot of questions and get them engaged in the conversation, then they're much more likely to read that longer blurb later. So it's really important to be like, if you said, have you heard about Plexus? And they're like, no, not really. You kind of say, well, it's a health and wellness company and it really focuses on gut health. Do you know anything about gut health? And then they'll answer that. And you can say, well, like, what are your health goals for 2018? Or is there anything that you're really like trying to beat or struggling with? So, it's those initial questions to really get them engaged, and they don't think of you as like selling them something at that point. They think of like, oh, I'm going to talk about myself. And everybody likes to talk about themselves, whether they admit it or not. So that's a good strategy for reaching out, is kind of having the beginning just be asking a lot of questions, and making your answers as short as possible, but still answer their questions. So in order not to overload you with like too much information, do you have, that's what I would say to work on, like moral of the story, like have that be what you work on based on this call. Do you have any like questions or things that you have like run into or been hesitant to reach out because of?
No, I just kind of just been going with the flow, basically. I haven't really have goals in mind for like expanding, just taking day by day. I'm not really focused on the money part of it, but sharing it, like you said.
Yeah. So. Well, and I think that that's a great attitude to come at it from, because that's the same attitude that I've come at it from. And I think people will see your heart in that like, I'm not after your money. I just want you to feel better.
Mhm.
So I think that that's great. But I do think that we should try and get you to at least, like, even if you get to silver, which is having 3 people under you, and then you're like, I'm just going to keep going with the flow. I don't really want to work the business. Because if you do that, then you're going with the flow, but your products are being paid.
Right. That would be awesome.
And it's way easier to go with the flow when that's happening.
Right.
So I would say, like, push a little bit harder and, like, do, like, have this be like a goal
Mhm.
for the next week or 2 or whatever, to just try and make that push to get those 3 people. And then if nothing more, like, just keep posting regularly. I love posting, and so I am totally happy to keep feeding you guys Facebook posts. And if you have one that, like, you've thought of or that you've seen somebody else do that you want to do that day, do that instead of what I suggest. But
I was kind of like, when you posted the story of that person, I was like, I don't know this person, but we'll see. But people, like, were really reacting to it. They're like, holy cow, you know?
yeah, and that's what, like, if it's a good story, people don't care if you know them or not.
Right.
It's always better when you can say, like, my friend. But
Right.
I most of the testimony type posts that I do are people I don't know.
Mm.
So it works. But I would just say that, like, work on reaching out to some people, be a little bit more intentional about working the business side of it, and get those 3 people, and then just focus on being consistent posting. And I think that you'll find that people start coming to you the longer that you just post about it, and it takes way, like, a huge part of the work out of it for you into getting your products paid for.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That would be my
That's a good goal.
suggestion. Do you feel like that's, like, that reaching out to people is something, like, doable that you could come
Yeah,
up?
I mean, I had, when I was doing Jamberry, I did that, but it was just annoying to me, like, with the parties, and I just liked it, and I wanted, I don't know, I wanted free Jamberry, basically. So,
Yeah. I wanted everybody's nails to look good, and I wanted mine for free.
right.
Yes, I totally get it. And getting your products for free in Plexus too is, like, a totally fine motivation. But I know that for you, it's, like, double-sided, because, yeah, of course you want that. Who wouldn't? But you do have a heart for your friends and your family,
Right.
and you want them to feel better. So when you're seeing success with something, like, if I find a pair of leggings that I really love, I'm going to share it with my friends, not because I
Right.
get paid for selling the leggings, but because I really love
Right.
them. So you can totally do this, and I am here for you. Any questions that you might have.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's all I got.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me know if you need anything.
Okay. Have a good day.
You too. I'll send you the recording of this.
Okay. And the disease
Oh, yeah, the
thing.
list. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that right now so I don't forget. Okay.
Okay. Bye.